And we are live. We're here again. We are here. We are back. We've got a full squad today. No injuries. No injuries. It feels good to have you back there, Jerome. I'm going to start with you today. How you doing? Good to have you back. It's Jerome the Marksman.
Cheers, boys. Yeah, nice to be back off the treatment table and back on the pitch. So, yeah, happy to be back.
Hey, I've heard it's a lonely place out there, mate, but it is good to have you back. In the middle, we've got the chief scout. He's wearing orange today. He wants to be seen and heard. Because to be heard, you have to be seen. It's Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Good evening, everybody.
That's good. And at the top chef today, let's see if he's on top form. How you doing, Simon? It's the chef. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, that's what we go. Today's rundown today, we've got a packed show. We've got Nathan Ake. Is he really in demand? Is he? We're gonna let you know. Liverpool. Are Liverpool going to do anything? Are they going to try and use the gap that they've had so far this season to not buy and maybe use that to their advantage? We're going to see. We're going to chat about it. We've got Mattéo Guendouzi. Is his time up for Arsenal, or should he get another opportunity? Ravel Morrison has just been released from Sheffield United. Another notch on his bedpost. Will he ever settle? Will we ever see the real talents that Ravel Morrison could bring? One of our big sources turned around and has told us this week that Hare is potentially going to be sold by Tottenham. It was backed up by words that Simon Jordan said when he said that Jose Mourinho is looking to break up the squad. Are they going to sell him or are they not? Should they sell him or should they not? And of course, we've got the Golden Boy Awards Top 100. Today, we're going to be focusing on the Brit pack. Whether they play in England or they're British and they're playing abroad, we're going to speak about them. And the thing, the spot that everyone's waiting for, the eagerly anticipated, is the transfer roundup. See, I told you it's a packed show today. I feel tired already. All right, and we're going to start off with this one. Nathan Ake, the Athletic reported a week ago or so that Man City and Chelsea are apparently in for Nathan Ake. They said that Chelsea have a first option to buy after selling him to Bournemouth. They said that Man City have taken interest in after a bit of a inquiry in January. And since then, last week, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was overheard saying, "We need left-footed centre-back. Keep doing what you're doing." I'm going to even this up a bit. There we go. That's beautiful. We're going to start at the top. Go on, Simon. How in demand is Nathan Ake? Do all these teams want him? Who wants him? Is he that good? Is he the man to fill the gap at Chelsea and Man City?
Well, I'm going to throw this one to Jerome because he's got a lot to catch up on.
Oh, mate, thanks for that. You know what? It's weird. Recently, it's been very fashionable to have a left-footed centre-back in your team. It's sort of quite popular to have. I think he will go, Nathan Ake, but I think he's in one of these positions whereby if a club like a United or City signed him, or Chelsea, I don't know if he's quite good enough to start for them. I think he'd be an excellent third choice, a really good third choice centre back. But I'm just not sure if he's at that level where he would be a regular starter for them. I think with in terms of a fee, he's only got a couple of years left on his contract, and with Bournemouth looking like they're getting relegated, you could probably get him for a decent price. But yeah, I'm not sure about whether he gets into the starting 11 of those top teams.
And that's the thing. That's exactly what we were speaking about the other day, weren't we, Steve? We were saying that is Nathan Ake getting bought by these teams to go in as the main man at centre back, because Man City are talking about bringing in Koulibaly. Chelsea are talking about rivaling Man City and going for Koulibaly. And out of nowhere, the Athletic are reporting that they potentially could switch that around and go for Nathan Ake. It seems a bit odd. Go on, Steve.
If he's looking at going into one of the top 6 sides, then he's looking at, sitting on the bench and waiting for his chance. He's definitely not going into the first 11. Man City, Chelsea, Man United all been linked with him. Ollie's done a bit of tapping up, but don't think that was too true. You have to get the lip readers out for that. He's a good player. It's funny. Everybody's always looked at him as a decent player, but he's in the 7th worst defence in the last 7 years of the Premiership. But he very strangely enough, he very rarely seems to have a bad game. I think Man City are going to be looking for defenders. The Koulibaly is still a little bit on edge. Otamendi and Stones, I don't think they're as good as Nathan Ake. Eric Garcia's going to be. I think he's going to be a great player in years to come, and I think he'll slot in, nicely. He's 25 years old. He goes under the radar a lot. If he's looking for a top 6 club, I think he's definitely, like I said, he's going to have to bide his time. And under that, then you've got to start looking at the normal culprits of like your Evertons, your Wolves, your Leicesters. But yeah, no, to answer your question, no, I can't see him going into a first centre back, especially for a top 6 side.
Simon, if you had a choice, Chelsea have been linked with Declan Rice recently. If you had a choice, who are you picking, Ake or Declan Rice to go in your centre back?
Ake.
Yeah,
Ake would walk into Chelsea's centre back.
Yeah, what you feel it would be a good move for Chelsea to use that first option and buy back? Yeah,
because it'd be a perfect person next to Rudiger. Because let's be honest, Kurt Zouma is not as cracked up as what people make it out to be. And then if I had to pick between Zouma or Nathan Ake, I'm picking Nathan Ake all day long. He's the better centre back. I thought for years and years that he wasn't going to be a good centre back because he doesn't look like a centre back. I agree. He doesn't. He doesn't look. I mean, you look bigger than bleeding Nathan Ake, and it's like when you watch him on the pitch, it's like, how the hell is he a centre back? He looks like he'd get bullied, but then he's twisted. He bullies the other people. Yeah, it's crazy. He's got good mobility as well. He can play football as well. He comes from a good background. I mean, he was well regarded at Chelsea. He went on loan at Bournemouth, and at the time, Bournemouth weren't doing too bad. But that's completely switched around since then, and they're a team that are pretty much fighting relegation back to back every season. We did. You mentioned. Go on.
Sorry. You mentioned his sort of strength and size just before, Mr. Chef. I was doing some reading on him, and out of 60 centre backs in the top division, he's number 58th in terms of winning aerial duels.
So it's not his aerial ability that's winning him.
That's it. Yeah, if you want someone that's going to win a header, that's going to be a dominant centre back in the air.
He's not a massive.
He's not that person.
He's not big in stature or big in size. He's 1 meter 80. So that's like what, 5'10"?
Yeah, 5'10", 5'11", something like that. Yeah.
Do you trust a centre back who's under 6 foot? I mean, I don't even trust a centre back. I'm not even having a centre back that's 6 foot, unless he can leap like Superman. So, but go on. He's
got a good reading though of the game. He's got a really good reading of the game. He knows exactly where to be in the box when he's defending. So when the cross comes in, he's the one that's always getting it out for Bournemouth. If it comes in from a corner, he's the one that's always clearing it. If it's a low-driven cross, he's very good at understanding.
Yeah, I think what it is with Ake as well is he started off career as a fullback, and because Bournemouth are in dire straits, he's then been shifted to left back. And even when he first started at Bournemouth, he was playing as a left back. So it was less of that physical nature was needed. I mean, if you look at the reports, it says Chelsea have a first option. So that's why they could potentially buy him back. It said that Manchester City looked at him in January, made an offer in January, and that offer got rejected. So in January, I think they were looking for more of a replacement for Laporte as opposed to a number one signing. Then they sort of dragged that back and sort of put 2 and 2 together and come out with Nathan Ake. And I don't know how much these rumours are true. And if you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and what he said, you can actually hear him say, we need a left-footed centre-back, let's keep going. But that, when you listen to the way he said it, it sounded a bit more like someone just hyping up a youngster or giving someone a sort of pat on the back, like, well done, you never know. One day you could be playing for Man United. It was more like that as opposed to, we need a left side centre back. Give me your agent's details. It didn't seem like that. It seemed like more of a, you keep doing what you're doing and you never know, you could play at Man United. That's what it felt like. And I personally don't think the Man United are really even going to go for him, even if it was, I don't think it was. I think it was a pat on the back, well done for today, and a little bit of a jovial remark, which is why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has kind of distanced himself from the rumours. Next up, Liverpool absolutely ran away with the league, and now there's rumours that potentially they're not even going to buy in the summer. Were they that good that they don't need to have a little bit of a refresh? That they don't need to bring in any new players? Tell me, Steve. We'll start with you. Are Liverpool that good that the gap that they had now can continue till next season?
No, not by every team who wins titles. Every top team has to add. I think it was Jerome who mentioned it once, that he said that Ferguson always used to add every single season. Used to get that marquee player. Not necessarily the which I think actually you added, Kieran, that it wasn't necessarily their record signing, but they always added someone that went on to, come close or win the title the following season. But going by the words coming out of Klopp's and the owners' mouths, they're in very big danger. All teams need to add to their squad, especially the title-winning team. If they don't, will I put Man City in front of them? Yes. Would I put Man United in front of them if they don't add?
No.
Yes, because I know Sancho's is coming. I mean, and anybody who says, that to have a Sancho, Pogba, Fernandes, and then a front lot of Martial, Rashford, and Mason Greenwood. I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, I'd run away. I'd run as soon as I see them. So that's they are definitely, that midfield and forward line is overall better than Liverpool's, although the defence might need a bit of work on. They seem to be bringing in their youth players and adding them to the squad, which is a sign they ain't got no money. Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, as good as they are, they're bringing Marco Guric back from Hertha Berlin, who's doing really well, to be fair. He's a decent player. They've all they want. Werner, they wanted a loan deal. Dembele, they wanted a loan deal. Alcantara, they wanted a loan deal. Victor Osimhen, they all want loan deals. Everything's about a loan deal. Coutinho was a loan deal. All wanted on loan. And what they're going to do now, they're going to find it difficult to get top decent players to come and sit on their bench. It's going to be very hard for them to say like, come sit on my bench. That is very difficult. And I think that's where they're going to fail this season, especially if they don't buy. So no, I think they're going to struggle if they don't buy. They need to buy big time.
So Simon, do you think they're in danger of playing a bit of tortoise and hare? The hare's run the race. He's near the finishing line. He's gone for a nap. Is there a danger of Liverpool doing that?
Yeah, because it's still the same thing that I've been told for the last 2 weeks at most, I think, that Liverpool have no money. You have no money to spend on players unless you sell. So you have all these rumours that come out that, oh, Dortmund have dropped the price for Sancho. Oh, no, it's gone back up again. No, it's dropped. No, it's gone back up again. Rubbish. Because you're just making things up. Because with Liverpool, if you want a new midfielder, you want a new attacker, you want a new centre-back, you have to sell what you've got. And when you look that they've won the Premier League, the Champions League, the Club World Cup, and the Super Cup, fair enough. But you don't have an owner that puts money into your club for your squad. The fact that you've won all those trophies and the money from that will go towards paying the rest of the contracts off without having to worry about scrimping and scraping over the next few years. So when they do sell Salah, Mane, or Firmino, or Van Dijk, because they're even struggling at the minute to get Van Dijk to a new deal, because he wants 200 a week, and Liverpool can't afford to give him that.
What did Liverpool buy in this season? I don't think they bought in much.
They didn't buy anyone.
They didn't bring
they
anyone
bought no
in.
one. This will be 2 summers now in a row that they've not bought anyone. But they've got a Premier League, a Champions League, and all these trophies to go on it, basically. So it's like, yes, you still need to strengthen, but with Man City, they lose a player for 70 million. Oh, we'll just go bring him in, 90 million. They can do that. We can't do that. So it's like with Man United, they can get rid of someone for 70 mil and bring somebody else in for 90 mil. They can do that because they're the club that they can do it because of the money that Man United make.
Yeah.
Liverpool make a lot of money, but they still owe, I think it's 45% to the owner for the new stand that they've added at Anfield. He's not even getting that to him. He still wants the money from that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Jerome, what you saying on Liverpool standing still, calculated risk?
You know what?
It's a massive gap.
Like Steve said, that they're in a very awkward, difficult position. But look, let's face it, this season they were excellent. They've been amazing. And it's one of those where if you're going to strengthen, there's not a real obvious position of weakness. Yeah, maybe the centre forward could score more goals than Firmino, but then are you going to lose something from the front line by taking Firmino out? Yeah, maybe the 3 centre midfielders they've got, maybe they're not all the best players, but together they work so well. So if you take one of those out, then the whole team might not function as well. I mean, I know you're talking about players they brought in recently. One of their recent signings, I guess a couple of years ago, is Naby Keita, who came for a lot of money, about 60 million. He's hardly played for them. So I still think next season, even if they don't sign any players, I think they're still going to be up there just because of how good they've been this season. And I don't think Klopp's going to let them sort of let off at all.
Yeah.
But,
it's a dangerous one for me. This Klopp's team runs on a in the way where the squad doesn't rotate much. It doesn't change much, which is why you saw when it came to FA Cup competitions, Carling Cup competition, whatever it is, Capital One Cup. It wasn't just rest a couple. It was change the team. It was a complete change of team. So it shows that it's very important to have he has to have his first team. Otherwise, it just messes up the cogs in the wheel. And it's a very dangerous game to play because you're running up the hope that you don't have any injuries. I mean, everyone will go straight for the if Van Dijk gets injured, the obvious one. But I'm sure it doesn't take much for one of the front three if they get injured, or one of the central midfielders. If Henderson's out for 5-6 games, that'll be a massive loss for them as well. So I don't know. I think it's very risky. They didn't buy last season, and they've managed to absolutely cream the league this year. But it's a very dangerous game. There's links with Alcantara, but again, how true
not
are
reliable.
they? How true
Non-reliable.
Sometimes it just feels like clubs won't say no because they want them fans to hope and think that they're going to be potentially signing a player. But the Alcantara ones, there's nothing that's really fully feeding through. I mean, Steve, you spoke about it last week, didn't you? Where you were saying that there's nothing really in it at the moment. He's still speaking to Bayern Munich, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, nothing. There's nothing. There's one of them ones that's nothing. I don't see no change. There's no heavy link from Liverpool. There's no heavy. All I keep seeing is that when Klopp is asked about Alcantara, he just keeps. He's what comes out of his mouth is, we've got good youngsters, and there's a big saying that he looks good. He will look good in a red shirt, but not this season.
Yeah, and he said that about.
Does that not tell you everything?
Yeah, and he said that about Sancho. He said that about Alcantara. It's just, and the thing, and the one that got me the most, was Fink. Was they asked Fink about the Alcantara, and he was a bit miffed because he was like, "Well, negotiations with Thiago were actually going quite well." So I'm quite miffed as the quick change in decision. So if
we all know who's like. With Man City, the way they are, with Man United, we all basically know what their team's going to be like and who's going to come. Chelsea are more or less there with the signings that they made. They might add one more. And Liverpool at the moment, we're not seeing anything.
Yeah.
If it stayed as the way it is, where would Liverpool finish?
It's a tough one because, like you said, Man City are going to spend. They're going to spend. That UEFA will turn around with Man City secretly and go, please go and buy some players and go and buy a couple of players from some smaller clubs so you can distribute some of that wealth you've got to them. Because that's what UEFA
if you
want.
If you take it on the fact that we're all saying more or less Liverpool ain't going to buy.
They won't win the league next season. I don't see them winning the league next season if they don't buy.
I think that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going on. If you need to add, if you want to win the league, like Alex Ferguson does. To add, you win the league. Van Persie, he bought Van Persie to win the league. He bought Rooney to win the league. He bought Van Nistelrooy to win the league.
Yeah.
So
and this isn't
Liverpool got to do that. If they bought Werner,
and this isn't to dig Liverpool out because they've won the league.
Not at all.
It's not. This we're talking about a formula which clubs have done since the Premier League started. When you win it. To keep one step ahead of everyone else, you've got to buy it because what everyone else is going to do. Okay, that team won it. We need to do things will put us 2 steps ahead, so we can definitely win it this year. So you're one step.
It's like Jerome said. How can you knock Liverpool? You can't knock them.
Exactly.
For what they've done, can you?
Exactly. They've absolutely smashed.
So we're not. When Liverpool fans are watching in, we're not having a go at you.
No. But I think it would be a tall task to ask that same team to try and win that league again with no additions to it. It's a lot to ask, and I don't think that Dick Origi, if one of your players gets injured over a space of time when he starts a game, is the answer. So if you're going to strengthen in one spot, that's the spot you could strengthen in. And we're not talking about that person's got to come in now and he's got to take the spot of Salah. But if Barcelona can upgrade on their players, if Barcelona can bring in a player that's going to sort of test the front three and potentially take over, then of course Liverpool can. But it remains to be seen.
Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, and Nico Williams might come in next season and just blow the Premiership.
I know. I rate Curtis Jones. I really think Curtis Jones has got something about him. I think he's a very good player, and it may do him well having Salah, Firmino, and Mane in front of him. So it's a challenge. It's not put on him straight away like what you might have had with Rashford at Man United. Curtis Jones can then sort of slowly integrate himself into the team. But it will be a tall ask for him to swap over from one of them two and expect him to do big things. Next up, Mattéo Guendouzi. Is his time up for Arsenal, or should he get another opportunity? There's been reports recently about troubles previously. Old coaches that said he's been the same, he's not matured. Since the Brighton game, where he had that spat with Neil Morphy, Mattéo Guendouzi has been training on his own for the last 2 weeks. His attitude has not been good enough, and he hasn't changed his stance. Where do Arsenal go now? We'll start with you, Simon. Go on. Mattéo Guendouzi. Should Arsenal sell, or should they give him another opportunity?
No, I think they should sell. Just with his attitude, basically. But I think after today's result and the possibility of no Europe for next season could be a bit of a tough ask now, because they're going to have to either sell him for money, or there was a swap deal on the cards with Hare, but you had to get European football, not Champions League, just European football. But after today's result, that's probably just dead in the water now. So if anyone reports about that, which they probably will, but I probably won't believe them, to be honest. I think with Guendouzi, Arteta's tried. He's tried talking to him. The club have tried talking to him. And he's just got a bad attitude about him, what I've heard. That he thinks, because he's come from second division in France, and then he's come straight from there to Arsenal, it's like he thinks he's made it already and thinks he's better than most players, not just at Arsenal, but probably in the Premier League, as the incident he had with Brighton player. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of reports come out. There's a lot of stories. One thing that is his personality, that trait has come from a lot of coaches is a winner. He doesn't like to lose, and sometimes he loses his head when he does that. It looks like from a lot of the arguments that he's had and the issues that he's had, it's from him not wanting to back down. Jerome, do you feel like this is the end for Guendouzi, or do you think he should be given another opportunity?
I think because of the position Arsenal were in terms of they need to raise money, don't they? They need to sell players. I think because of that, also, you've got to ask yourself who's advising him, his agent or the people that are around him. Agents, they earn a lot of money in football, but when it comes to looking after or giving advice to players on this occasion, and unless he's happy for Guendouzi to move, because then he can earn a fee from it. This is where I think the agents need to give better advice to the players, because he's obviously talented. He hasn't set the world alight at Arsenal, but no one really expected him to, because he wasn't supposed to play really last season. He was probably supposed to go into the under-23s, playing the youth team, but he went straight into the first team. And as I said, due to a combination of factors, having to raise money, him not being amazing at the moment, and the position Arsenal were in, they need players that are going to go straight in and be top draw players straight away, rather than he might be right in a few years' time. For Arsenal, that's not good enough. That's not good enough now. Also, you got to trust Arteta's judgment on it. So unless there's a dramatic turnaround of events, I think that it's likely that he will be leaving, and it's just a case of Arsenal getting as much money as they can for him, and reinvesting it back into the squad.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you did just say there was about who's advising him. There's witness quotes, but basically they say that there was an argument between him and Socrates that broke out into near enough a fight. They had to be split up. Arteta took the side of Socrates and had a word with Guendouzi. Guendouzi didn't take well to Arteta taking Socrates' side, and in no too few words, told Mikel Arteta what he thought of him, told him what he thought of him as a manager, and didn't hold back at all, which you can't do. Then David Luiz tried to have a word with him to say you need to learn some self-control, have an element like sort out your professionalism. You can't be doing this. You can't be speaking to the manager like that. It fell on deaf ears. And this is not the first time. Even in his previous club, at half-time, his team was losing. He tried to have a go, rile them up. And now you could think to yourself, okay, no, I'll tell you what, it's a young kid, stepped into the youth team. We're losing at half-time. He's come out and he wants to say, come on, we can do this. But when the manager started to calm him down, he wasn't having it. And he didn't back down when the manager was speaking. So he was kicked out of the first team and didn't play for him for the next 3 months. So this isn't something that he's learning from. Steve, what do you say on Guendouzi? Do you feel like it's even worth making this effort for?
No. I mean, I agree with the boys. What they said up, I think he should be moved on. What does he do for Arsenal? Don't score goals. He don't make assists. He runs around like he's like a chicken with a sore head. I never know whereabouts he's playing. 1 minute he's over there. He makes rash tackles. Puts us under pressure a lot. He's got a terrible attitude. Whether you're a player, whether you're a fan, if you're a member of the Arsenal family, there's a certain way you act. And he's not acting the way an Arsenal player should be acting. So Arteta knows the way you should play, way you should act if you're an Arsenal player. He's not doing that. He's not listening. He thinks he's Billy Big. What's the time? You know, I was going to say that's what he thinks he is. And as I say, he just having a go at the manager. That was the final straw. I mean, it's not like sometimes you can. I mean, if you say like Paul Pogba, for instance, I know this is different, but just think of the characters for a minute, right? He's a pain, right? He does things that people don't like to do, but he does it on the pitch. You know, there's players like Jack Grealish, who's a right pain in the arse, you know, in the dressing room, whatever, and off the pitch, and drives managers and the board and everyone mad. But he does it on the pitch. You know, we could go through 4 or 5 players, and they say, "Yeah, but they do it on the pitch, so we'll give you a chance." He don't do it on the pitch. He does nothing on the pitch. I can't say something that he's actually where I can pick out that he's done something since he's been there. So I think he's got a terrible attitude. I think like we paid, I think, was it 8 million for him? Was it from Lorient? We'll get a profit. Let's get rid and get a profit from, get someone else in.
Yeah. I mean,
who's going to respect the badge? Who's going to respect the badge?
And that's what it comes down to. It comes to respect. It's respecting the club. It's respecting your teammates. Because if you feel like you can do things that they can't, that shows a lack of respect for the people that you're working with. And people won't appreciate that. They won't appreciate that. I don't know what the boys think. But another thing, I think, the reason why he is the way he is because there's not that. I don't know, I was going to say father figure then, but the leader at Arsenal is no one who really who he would listen to there, is there? David Luiz would go up to him and say something, and then what he ever says don't work. There isn't really that player there who can sort of put his arm around him and say, look, this is wrong, and because he obviously ain't taking notice of the ones. And when you think about it, there's hardly a great sort of. For instance, if he's looking for let's just say he's looking for another Frenchman in the team to maybe give him a few wise words, just because you're going to relate a bit more to someone who's from your country, if you're in another country especially. So who's the Frenchman's in that team who's going to give him that kick up the arse? Who's going to tell him? You're looking at Aubameyang.
It's Aubameyang.
You're a Frenchman, but you know what I mean. You look at Aubameyang, Lacazette, and that's it. And they're the jokers of the team, and that's who he hangs around with. So they ain't looking to give him any discipline. Like, come on, man. Like, it's not going to happen. One of the other things that happened was they went on a tour to Dubai. They went to a local place, and there was some local dancers doing the Dubai dance or whatever it is. Yeah, Mattéo Guendouzi decides to take off his shirt and swing it around his head in support of the dancing. Now, some will say he's just having a laugh, but what are you, 5? What are you, in primary school?
This is Arsenal Football Club.
Do you know what I mean?
Football Club.
And that's the.
I don't know if it's because I'm getting old or what. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old. But this is Arsenal Football Club. You know, there's the way you acted. I mean, like, it's nah.
No, you're right. And the other one, which was probably, this was the one which probably had Mikel Arteta earmark him as, you do one more thing and I'm done with you. They was meant to have a meeting. Everyone, the member in the squad of the squad and the staff were meant to attend this meeting because it was about the restart and coming back to the project restart in the Premier League. Mattéo Guendouzi rang in and said he can't make it. Now, what the hell are you doing, bro? Because everyone's on lockdown and they're in their house. Where are you going? What are you doing that you can't attend a meeting that everyone in the squad has to go to, and you and one other person didn't? Now, I don't know who the other person isn't, but I'm damn sure after the message that Mikel Arteta left after that, saying that is disrespectful to everyone in the team, I will not be having it in the team. I bet they knuckled down the other person because you're not hearing about their name, and you only heard about the Guendouzi issue. You only heard about the Guendouzi issue once there was more of an issue about it. Once there was other stuff that's happened. Oh yeah, and this from Guendouzi and that. No one's mentioning the other player because the other player probably knuckled down. I'm guessing the other player might be Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's probably knuckled down now. And at the time was probably a bit annoyed that he weren't getting in the team. No one was seeing his way of thinking. So it's for me. Arsenal, look, they're scheduling a meeting at the end of the season to discuss what's going to happen with Guendouzi. But from what I'm hearing, they're just going to be discussing where you're going to be going, mate, because it's the end of the line. You've had too many opportunities now, and it's the way you're acting. You're not showing any sort of, you're not apologising for your actions. You actually feel like you're being hard done by. And if you're putting up your barrier like that, there's really no coming back. Okay, that was a good one. Ravel Morrison, the enigma. People talk about this guy like he's the second coming, like he's the next Ronaldo, Messi, Zidane mixed together. Yet he's barely strung 5 games together in a row for any team that he plays for, except for in Mexico. Let's go for the list. Manchester United, West Ham, Birmingham, Cardiff, Lazio, Atlas in Mexico, Osterstadt, Sheffield United, recently released a few days ago, and now Middlesbrough. The geezer's 27. He literally has not had more than 15, 20 games in the season playing for one team because they always ship him out on loan and kick him out. They see the talent. He's quiet when he first joins the place, probably. Within a few weeks, he gets a bit comfortable. Starts swinging his shoulders about. I'm the big man. Tell me about it. What is going on with Ravel Morrison? Is he misunderstood or is he a pain in the arse? Steve, I'm starting with you, mate. Go on.
This geezer's having a bubble, isn't he? Jesus Christ, man. Just such a waste of talent. It just goes to show you that having talent and not working hard and playing up, don't go together. You need both to be a professional footballer. At Man United, he was hailed the next George Best, and that was from players who played with George Best. Your Paddy Crerans, your Bobby Charltons. So, that's just not something that's just thrown out there. He was in the same side as Paul Pogba, and at the time, he was the best player in that side. His potential was better than players like Paul Pogba. But he just went off the rails. He started going out drinking. His attitude was awful. He was causing unrest in the changing rooms. And then he moved on to West Ham from there. He was West Ham.
Yeah.
And Sam Allardyce held him an absolute genius. But the trouble always followed him wherever. It's like what you said, Kieran. Wherever he went, trouble, followed him, and that just continued, club after club, until we got right up to date at Sheffield United. Where I don't know if you want me to go through what happened at Sheffield United. I know Simon knows a bit as well, but he just didn't toe the line at Sheffield United. I have a friend who's just a Sheffield United fan, and I just thought I'd get in touch with him and see what's going on with Ravel Morrison. And it just so happened that his son works at the training ground, which I had no idea. And he just told me his timekeeping was poor. Chris Wilder used to call him Mr. 75%, where he just like he was fantastic playing football. But he just didn't want to know. If I wanted to, because I could go right to the end of it, but this was from a mate, who works at the training ground. And then they sent him out on Middlesbrough, and then when he come back, Chris Wilder said, I'm not renewing your career. Big ruckus, fights. And the guy is just interested in this, in the dosh. That's all he's interested in. And there's a lot more that happened in his career, which was very naughty, which, whether I'm not too sure if I should bring up or not. But, that's Ravel Morrison as far as I'm aware.
Well, I can see you're going to pick up a few crumbs there, Si. I know there's some leftovers, mate. Come on.
Pick up a few that disappeared out at once. How do I get home?
I stopped halfway through, and I did say that Simon want to carry on because I know he knows a bit.
I know you've got some.
And Kieran stayed quiet, so
Go on. What you got, Si? Come on.
No, feel free, Steve. Carry on. It's all right. You just ticked off half a bleeding sheet on list.
What you got, Si? Come on.
My wife thought I was writing a book. So you writing a book about this bloke?
I mean, you could do.
His biography.
The same person that's told me about him is the same guy who I spoke to about the signings that Sheffield were looking at, and one of them was Todd Cadwell that made the papers. So when I tell you this, it's legit. So basically, with Ravel Morrison, when he came to Sheffield United, he wasn't quiet to start off with. He got on training pitch. He had a good training pitch. He had a good training session for the first week, and they was impressed with him. Then after that, he got into a tackle with someone. I can't remember which one, but he got into a tackle, and then it were a bad tackle. But then it started off as a bit of an argument on the training pitch with this player. I can't remember what name it was, but anyway, and then all of a sudden he started basically having a dig at this player and like putting it through his legs and trying to basically embarrass him on the training pitch. So then Wilder has had a word with him, told him about it, he's apologised, gone back onto the training pitch, done the same thing again to the same player. So now that player has now had enough and squared up with him. And what this person told me is that he said to this other player, what was it? Like when they go, "Oh, you're old now, you're past it. You're the present. I'm the future."
Yeah.
And it's like the disrespect that he showed that player. Some of the other players weren't happy with it as well. Some of the other players weren't happy with it, so they called him up on it. And then Wilder had another chat with him. The assistant had a word with him as well, and he was sent home. Then he's come back to Sheffield United, and he's basically walking around Bramall Lane thinking that is Billy Big Bollocks, that his name and stuff like that. I've been at Manchester United. I'm above you lot. And it's not on the same line as Guendouzi, but he started bragging about how much he was on. He wanted, I think it was after a few appearances or something like that, he ended up calling the manager and saying, "I think I deserve a pay rise." So he's demanding more money. He's just got a big attitude about him.
What's Steve just say? He's
He thinks
all about the money.
He is. He thinks he's all about the money. But with Sheffield United, you can see this season and in the Championship last year with their squad, they're a tight knit. They run by certain rules by Chris Wilder. You abide by them rules. If you don't do them rules, you're going to know about it. And he had him in the office about 3 or 4 times, and then he's been sent home from training on 4 occasions. He failed to turn up to a team meeting and just said that something to do with his car or something like that. I can't get there. There's something wrong with the car. And he just sat at home and did nothing. His plans parties, basically, with his mates and, like, obviously girls coming round rather than actually going to training or doing anything with the team. So I think Sheffield United, I know when they signed him, I turned around to this one lad who I know and I said, you know what, you've got Jack Rodwell and you've got Ravel Morrison. Get rid of them quick, because they will literally destroy your team. You might think that they're good because of the name, and it's, Jack Rodwell is an England international. Look how he destroyed Sunderland by basically taking too much money and not willing to take a pay cut to help the club. And it's funny how Jack Rodwell is trying to do the same thing at Sheffield United now, but he ain't getting anywhere near what he was at Sunderland. And that's why he makes no appearances for them. He's not even on the bench. And that's because these two basically just didn't do what Wilder said.
Wow. Inside.
I just wanted to confirm with Simon that he was spot on. I think that player who had the big fight up was with Bulldog.
It might have been him actually. There was another one.
I think did we have that? Did we say? I'm sure it was Bulldog.
Yeah, you told me it was Bulldog. Yeah, but like you said, the stories match up, and these two ain't even spoken to each other. They do match up. Yeah, very good.
Spot on.
Jerome, Ravel Morrison, is he worth the trouble?
Well, back to your original question. Will he ever settle at a club? Based on the evidence presented before us, probably not. And you know what's funny? His 2 most recent managers have been obviously Chris Wilder from Sheffield United, but he was just obviously on loan at Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
And if there's one manager, Neil Warnock, if there's one manager you think wouldn't really go with that sort of player, it would be Neil Warnock. I saw a few clips of him playing at Middlesbrough, and he looked excellent.
The thing is, there's no doubting his ability. And the thing is, with Ravel Morrison, you know why they love him. Because he's that central midfielder and he just runs at people. He runs at people, he can score goals and he can set up goals and no one can touch him. And he knows it. He knows how good he is and he knows how good he can be. But that's not doing him no favours whatsoever. Recently, Neil Warnock, obviously, he's been released from his club. So Middlesbrough can have him if they want him. But Neil Warnock turned around to him and said, mate, you've got to settle down soon. You can't keep going from club to club. You got to mature. You can't keep thinking you can do what you're doing at all these other clubs, because how long is it going to last? No one's going to give you a chance in the end.
Yeah. It's interesting what Jerome said about the managers. Neil Warnock, and who was the other one?
Chris Wilder.
Neil Warnock, no. Chris Wilder, of course, Chris Wilder. But the 2 before that was, or in between that, was Alex Ferguson and Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Don't care, does he?
Maybe it's clubs that he does get on at. Their managers just let him do what he wants. But you're in danger of upsetting the change room, and the change room is more important than one player. And if he's gonna mess up the morale and the camaraderie in there, it's game over. It's game over. Ravel Morrison, the enigma, and he would potentially stay that way if he doesn't knuckle down and
how old
grow
is
up.
He, Kieran? How old is Ravel?
He's 27. He's the same age as Paul Pogba. And when you said people said he had more potential, he was hands down the best player in the team. Hands down the best player in the team. He stood out massively above them. Massively.
Rooney said it, didn't he? Rooney said it.
Good. And there's no excuse for the area he was brought up in, because he wasn't brought up in a harsh area in Manchester. He was brought up in a relatively okay area in Manchester. He was brought up in like, it was a working class, but upper working class. It wasn't like, he wasn't in the slums. He wasn't in Moss Side, which is a very harsh area to grow up in Manchester. He wasn't from there. He's from like the suburbs, mate. So there's no excuse there. And there's players that have had bigger issues, the same issues, and they've come out better players and better people in football than he has. So it's time to knuckle down, mate, because you're just going to be a myth, and you'll be that geezer in the pub that's saying I coulda, shoulda, didn't. So, and no one wants to hear from that geezer because he's boring. All right, next up, we have Tottenham are open to selling Harry Kane. We released this information last week that Tottenham were looking to potentially sell Harry Kane with the likes of Milak of Napoli as his replacement. We've seen reports that say that Juventus are after Milak as well as Tottenham. We've seen Simon Jordan just come out the day after we released it and say that he feels that Jose is going to break up this team. He feels like he can get money from his assets, and he didn't mention any players, but we know who the assets at Tottenham are. There's talk that Tottenham are trying to do a swap deal with involving Mora to Napoli to do a swap deal with Milak. So hopefully they potentially wouldn't have to get rid of Harry Kane. But the truth of the matter is, if you've got a player who's worth as much as they say, 150 million plus, then why wouldn't you try and cash in on that and spread that wealth amongst the team? But is Harry Kane even worth that money anymore? Have they missed the boat? Who wants to take this one?
I think even if you sold Harry Kane for 200 million, you're still not going to be able to put that 200 into the squad because Levy's going to take a percentage of it for the stadium. True. Potentially, if they miss out on Europe, because fair enough, they've beaten Arsenal today, but they could lose their next 2 games and then be out of Europe altogether. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because everyone thought Leicester were nailed on for Champions League. They've just gone and lost today 3-1 to Bournemouth.
What?
What? Leicester have lost. What? Leicester have lost 3-1 today to Bournemouth. I've just watched it on this.
No way.
Yeah, Sionko got sent off. So you're looking now at Man United going to third.
Nathan just signed 2-year extension.
Oh.
Nathan Aki just signed 2-year extension.
Yeah. I'm not making it up, honestly. I'm not making it up. Go and have a look.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
So that's what I'm saying. So if Tottenham miss out on Europe, fair enough. Arsenal will miss out on it, and it's massive because of the situation that we're in, because we will have to get rid of some players to maybe whatever it is with Bucks or something. But with Tottenham, they have a stadium to pay for.
Yeah.
So they're going to sell Harry Kane for 200 million. They'll probably get that money and then put a little bit towards this guy from Napoli. Oh, I'm absolutely bizarre how you swap him for Harry Kane. I don't know. And then you put that percentage onto the stadium. So you're getting rid of an actual goal scorer who's not working under the right manager. Because let's be honest, Mourinho and Harry Kane do not work. Same as Harry Kane and Son do not work. So if you let Jose bring in the players that he wants, then he's got nowhere to hide, and you've probably got a better chance on trying to win maybe the odd Carabao Cup, maybe the odd FA Cup or something like that. But to get with Harry Kane, I do think that Tottenham should cash in on him, and I think he should look to move from Tottenham because they ain't winning anything in the next time in any years on the way. And I think he needs to leave because when you finish as a player, you either look back and you have memories of being golden boots and whatever stuff it is, or you take that big jump. Because let's be honest, Alan Shearer's prime example. Do you stay at Newcastle for the rest of your life as a player, but don't regret it, but you never had trophies? Or do you do a Harry Kane and do you go to somewhere like a Man United, a Man City? Aguero is looking like he's at the end. You could easily replace Aguero with Harry Kane. And then you've still got your goal scorer, and you've got someone like Pep or a new manager that comes in that can get the best out of Harry Kane. So I think for Tottenham, fair enough. It's as a Tottenham fan now, obviously you're happy today, but I won't be happy for future. I'd be terrified.
Well, when you mentioned that Harry Kane could be going for 200 million, it looked like Jerome had just started chewing on a lemon. I mean, his whole body contorted. He looked like Inside Out boy for a second. I didn't know what was going on. I was just about to call 999 see if he's all right. Are you all right there? Apparently, you don't think that Harry Kane is worth 200 million. Talk to me, Jerome.
I don't see who would pay 200 million for Kane. I think he's 27 next month. Every season he seems to be out for at least a couple of months with injuries. Now you've had obviously COVID as well. I think there's only a few teams that would sign him. As you said initially, Kieran, on this segment, I think Spurs have missed the boat with him in terms of getting big, serious money for him. He's got 4 years left on his contract.
His stock's fallen. Just say it, Jerome. His stock has fallen.
Yeah. So would Spurs, would they sell him for 50? It's probably not enough for them. So,
50 million.
This is what I'm saying. So
can you imagine Daniel Levy? Can you imagine Daniel Levy at 50 million? He'd be like, no.
So this is what I'm saying. I don't know if he's going to. It's so the price of Harry Kane now is so difficult to call.
Yeah. What he's worth and his value and what Tottenham want for him and what you would say it realistically he should be worth, but is he?
No.
Is he?
Tottenham would have to sell him for 700 million just to make sure they could build a squad. That's what they would need to do.
The thing is, let's just say his value of when his peak is 150. You ain't getting that now.
No
COVID
way.
or no COVID. The Harry Kane of this season, you're not getting 150 for Harry Kane. 100.
No way.
80. Are you paying 80?
No.
80 million.
You're not a worldwide brand as well, so you don't sell shirts all over the world if you're a Tottenham fan. Maybe the odd few, but you're nowhere near the calibre of an Arsenal, a Man United, a Chelsea, a City, a Liverpool.
Yeah.
So that's going to hinder you if you're out of Europe, because you're just going to have to keep selling your best players.
Steve, what do you do with Harry Kane? Do you sell him or do you keep him then? What do you do? What are you saying about Harry Kane? Talk to me.
Well, from Harry Kane's point of view, he's got to go, isn't he? He's got to go up to Levy and say, I want to go in there. Because was it, I forget what one of the boys said, you don't want to end up like an Alan Shearer. I mean, I know he turns around and he says, I don't regret it, staying at Newcastle. He cries in his tea every night.
But the thing is, he won the Premier League. He had the Premier League in his back pocket.
Must regret it. Come on.
He had the Premier League in his back pocket and he thought, all right, I've done that. This is just for the love of the team now.
Yeah, he sits on match of the day. He sits on match of the day and goes, no, I don't regret. I'm glad I won nothing and stayed at Newcastle. Or Southampton, rather. Brilliant.
He shot himself in the foot, though, because he signed a 6-year deal, Harry Kane. So he shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, but this is going to be this is going to be controversial, right? Or maybe not. I don't know what you all think, right? But I felt for a while now, and this is not recently, that Spurs are a better side without Harry Kane, isn't it? I've watched Tottenham when he's not been in the side, and Tottenham played some lovely football and they very rarely lost. When Harry Kane's in the side, it's very one-dimensional. It's hit Kane, it's Kane. But when he's not there, they've got half-decent players and they seem to perform better when he's not in it. So I don't think if he went to Levy and said, I want to leave, I don't think it's that big a deal. And I certainly wouldn't hold him back if he wanted him to go. What's he worth? Oh, I mean, he's not better than Timo Werner, is he? I mean, I know if I had the choice of Werner or Kane, I'd be having Werner all day long, but I don't know if I'm a fan of Werner. But
I think Werner's a bit skewed, though, isn't it? Because he had the minimum release clause. So if we're talking Werner's actual valuation, I'd probably say no COVID. I'd probably say you're talking about 78 million. But even then, Harry Kane being Harry Kane, Harry Kane being Harry Kane, Tottenham were asking for 150 million. Like that's what they're asking.
They won't get that. And the thing is now, they've messed up because he's not worth 200 million. He's not worth 150 million. Is someone even going to pay 100 million for it?
You'd struggle for 100.
You would.
They've got to get rid of him now. He's not going to get any better than he is now. So that tells you've got to get rid. If he's not going to get any better, if he's stopped, he's not going to go any higher. Yeah. Then surely it makes 100% sense to get rid. So from both people's point of view, it's got to be the right thing to do. But where does he go? Where can he go?
There's only ever been a few places, isn't there?
Who can afford him? Yeah, Man United, do they need him? They don't need him, do they? Not really.
No.
Nah.
Not for 100 million.
Man City, he's not the type of player for Man City, is he? He doesn't remind. Aguero.
I think Harry Kane for City would be devastating. What he's got around him, I think he'd be that ideal.
They'd have to change their way of playing, though, sort of thing.
They would have to change it because Harry Kane tried dropping deep, pulling off the wing, and being a number 10 kind of striker when his hype was crazy and it didn't work. Yeah. He couldn't score goals.
I mean, Barcelona ain't got a pot. Real Madrid are struggling. Juventus, I don't think need him, do they?
What baffled me though is with Harry Kane when he signed his 6-year deal. Why did they not put a release clause in his deal? We did with Saka.
Because they don't want to sell. They don't want the release clause. They don't want people to meet the release clause. Levy wants to be able to turn around and go, "This is his price. If you're not going to pay it, you won't go anywhere." And that's the thing.
That's risky business. That.
I think when you sort of put it all together and you calculate it all together, it's great business now for Harry Kane to get out, and it's great business for Spurs to get rid. I think that's pretty clear, isn't it? But say it all depends who's going to buy him.
But there's no buyers.
I've heard Levy say he doesn't really want him to stay in the Premier League when he does go. So then you're looking abroad, and then does he come? He don't come across that type of player who wants to play abroad. So maybe he'll stick at Spurs. I don't know.
But it's one of those things, isn't it? Like who you just said, who are there? Juventus, Real Madrid. Juventus have buckled at the 100 million price for Raul Jimenez, who they want. And they don't really want to go there. They want to offer 2 players plus, say, 50 million for Raul Jimenez. Tottenham aren't taking 50 million plus 2 players that they don't really want at Tottenham from Juventus. They want money. This is Levy. He wants the money so he can invest it in other places. You can't invest a player into your stadium. Like, it's not going to happen. So, for me, it doesn't work. Levy, he's kind of tied himself up in a knot here. Because Harry Kane, his stock is falling, but his valuation will still stay in and around that for multiple reasons. It's a tough one for Tottenham, but I think you've got to move on and start to sell. Here we go again. Steve smiling. It's the Golden Boy Award nominations, and today it's the Brit Pack, not the Brat Pack. It's the Brit Pack. We've got players who are either British and they're playing abroad, or players that are playing in the Premier League or in England.
Have you got everyone's list there as well, what you get, basically? Because I've lost my homework. I can't find that book anywhere. And the dog's not eating it.
The dog ate your homework. Wow.
Yeah, I can't find it.
So we'll start with Steve. Steve. I know you've got a very impressive list.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't you. We had a little game, didn't we? And I thought you would choose certain ones for me, and I lost.
Go on. Who
So,
did you think I was going to choose for you?
I thought you was going to choose for me the Arsenal player, the youth player. That's what I thought you'd.
Name
escaped me.
Nah. Someone else already had him from the week before, so I just let him continue. Go on.
All right. I missed that one then. The first one is I just think this geezer's different gravy, and he's going to go on to be probably one of the best English strikers. Not, I won't say ever because it's early days. 18-year-olds, as I say, along with Phil Foden, I think this geezer's going to be one of the next world-class English footballers in the making. Mason Greenwood. He's got one more goal to equal George Best, Brian Kiggs, and Wayne Rooney's record for this geezer. And they've all scored 17. He's got to do that, and he's probably going to beat their record. And he's done that all in one season. He can score. You've seen him. We've all noticed. Yeah. We've all seen him. Right foot, left foot.
Bullet.
When he strikes the ball, very rarely does the keeper is he stopping it, and he's putting it all in that keeper's net. Electric pace. The kid has it all. Perfect attitude for kids to copy. I don't know whether he's getting this from Rashford as well. They seem to be getting this nice little people to look up to at Manchester United recently. He is absolutely undroppable right now, and I know he's Man United, but I'm still really excited to see what he's got to come. Mason Greenwood. So
I fear for him, though,
Mason Greenwood.
I fear for him, Mason Greenwood, big time, because of this Man United Jadon Sancho. So I fear for him.
Funny enough, I half agree with you, Simon, because there's something that's going to come up a bit later, which sort of falls into that. But yeah, so I do half agree with you there, mate. The next one is Faustina Ajori, midfielder, tall, strong, front man, excellent finisher, very unselfish, gets plenty of assists. Reminds me of like a Raul Jimenez. This geezer's massive, but he's he's just signed a 5-year contract, so that shows you how highly he's rated. I don't know if I said he's at Chelsea. Faustino is head and shoulders above the rest of all his teammates at Chelsea. He's the best. He's the number one. Hence why 5-year contracts already. When you watch him, you'll see why. A towering player. Towering. When you see clips of him, he's like up here, and his teammates are down there when they go and congratulate him for scoring a goal. They're all looking up at him like that. Well done. Fantastic touch for a big man.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
We don't just fall over our feet as soon as the ball gets there. It's like,
yeah.
Oh God, panic.
He's for the actual where he's 19, and because of obviously the level that he's playing at the moment, every defence is just a total mismatch for this kid. And you've got to have a look, keep your eye out for him. My last one is Yasser Larouchia of Liverpool, an Algerian, 19 years old, defender, attacking left back. Yeah. They're coming through Liverpool with some attacking left backs, aren't they? Or should I say full backs recently. He's powerful, always on his toes, looking, wanting the ball. If he has a weakness, this is a crossing. Whether that's because he's big. I think he's got to lose a few pounds. Maybe if he's a bit more trimmer, his crossing may, improve. He started in the first team, 2019. Had a debut against Tranmere, which they won 6-0. First team debut was against Everton in the FA Cup. It's difficult to make a left spot at the moment with Andy Robertson in the side. But Robertson's certainly going to have some competition in the future. Yes, sir. Llorente, Liverpool left back.
I saw him. I was very impressed with him. He's very, very attacking, so direct. Like you said, he's very raw. Needs to sort out his crossing, but he's young, and he looks like an exciting prospect. I can see him potentially going. I think a loan move would do him really good. potentially to a club who has just come up from the Championship would probably be a good one. Jerome, do you want to go next with your list?
Yeah, cool. So the first one, it's quite a rare, one of the only people on the list actually that doesn't really feature for their first team. So this is Trey Coyle of Arsenal. That's what I meant. Okay. Yeah, he did play 5 minutes of the behind closed door friendly against Brentford, a few weeks ago. But hasn't really featured for the first team so far properly. So he's an attacking midfielder. His close control is excellent, and when he is through on goal, when he finishes like a centre forward.
Yeah.
Very cool in front of goal. He's one of those players probably that might have to go on loan perhaps next season, just to play some first team football really. Because I can't see Arteta using him, anytime, in the next sort of year or so. So maybe go out, get some first team experience and come back. And he's obviously highly rated to make the list, but just someone that needs some first team experience.
Yeah, I've seen him actually putting in some extra minutes and extra hours with one of them, with the same football coach that Max Aarons stepped up his game with. I've seen him do some extra training sessions to make sort of step up his game and maybe push for the first team. So I always rate that when a youth player wants to do that.
Yeah, decent. The next one, another 19-year-old, is Ethan Ampadu. Now, a lot of people will probably know him from Chelsea. That's his parent club. He's well known for. He used to have big sort of dreadlock hair, but recently got it cut off. Now he's been quite unlucky this season. He went on loan to RB Leipzig, but he's had bad injury problems. He's only played a few games. I think he's played more for his national team Wales than he has sort of played first team football. Very highly rated, sort of either defensive midfielder or centre back. In January, a couple of Championship clubs were linked with him, but I think Chelsea rate him, so they're not going to sell him yet. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with him next season when hopefully he's back to full fitness and then can get a proper run in a team, whether it is Chelsea or another season out on loan. So that's him. And the last one is a Wolves player called Pedro Neto. Now he's a winger and he's made a lot of appearances this season. Only a few of them he started. But what's interesting with him is a couple of years ago, Barcelona tried to sign him for their B team, and the move never materialised. And he's now at Wolves. He's only 20 years old, and sometimes we expect so much from these players. So his numbers aren't fantastic in terms of goals and assists, but like I said, you've got to remember he's only 20. It's his first season in English football. And if Barcelona wanted to buy him a couple of seasons ago, then you've got to think technically this is a very good player.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's, as I say, just sort of getting to grips with the first team at Wolves now, and someone that is obviously very, very highly rated.
Yeah, he is. Well done, Jerome. Simon, what you got for me?
Top of the list, and probably the best midfielder in world football right now, in like his age category, Phil Foden. Absolutely unbelievable midfielder. I guarantee that this kid, the way he's going, he will outperform and basically have better careers than Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard put together. He's that good. And what he's doing with City at the minute is, I know he started off by making a few appearances, but Pep Guardiola really, really likes this lad. Really likes this lad. And to give him the responsibility, the respect and trust of Pep Guardiola's system in midfield next to Kevin De Bruyne, it's unbelievable. They bounce off each other so good. The way that he just drifts in on the left and on the right, the way that he creates things in midfield, the way that he always wants to score, he wants to assist, he always wants the ball. He never gets to a point where like so the ball comes to him and he gets rid of it as quick as possible. He actually goes towards it. He wants the ball. He loves making things. He loves making things happen. And that's why, for me, he's going to be a Ballon d'Or winner. He is. He's going to win that Ballon d'Or. But I don't know if it's going to be with City or with anyone else. But he is going to be a Ballon d'Or winner by the time he turns 27.
And obviously
100%.
there's been no links to, because City see him as like the next golden boy surely to take over from David Silva, isn't it?
Yeah, they're in talks actually with Phil to try and give him a longer contract, basically. They want to give him a bigger deal. Which he's earned it. He's earned it 100%. He's took his chance. He's took his chance and he's grabbed it and he's run off with it.
Yeah, he has. He's starting to really look like the player that Pep Guardiola was talking about. So it is good to see. It is good to see. Who you got next?
The next one I think it was Michael Obafemi.
Yeah, it's one that Simon picked. Yeah, he had the list. He had the full list. He could have picked anyone. He picked Michael Obafemi. I was shocked. Shocked.
The list
Steve's so shocked. He's not even moved.
The list that I picked, Kieran said that he was absolutely envious. He's gone. See you, Steve.
He's done. You've blown him away.
Done.
He's absolutely blown him away by picking Michael Obafemi and not an Arsenal player. He can't believe it. Go on, what are you saying? What are you saying about him?
How excited though is everyone about this player? How excited are you?
He's a good player. He's a really good player. I'm excited to see him come through at Southampton.
He's back. I know Southampton. It's weird though because the research I've done on this guy. I've seen a few people, and I've gone onto Southampton's Twitter as well, and I've gone through their Southampton's Twitter account, and I've gone through where they lost games. And some of their fans, the messages that they put saying, "Oh, he's not skillful enough. He don't do naught with the ball. He's a liability." And I'm there scratching my head, going, "Do you realise what a gem you have right now?" Seriously.
But I think that's what fans do when they see him week in week out. They get frustrated with him. So when you've got a player who wants to take a little bit of risk in the way that he plays, they're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna lose the ball here and there. So. I don't know. It's a tough one. He's a young player. You can't be getting so harsh on these young players. They're barely just broken out the youth teams.
That's what I mean. They expect him to pick the ball up and just run with it like Messi and score. Ironically, he did that. But that's what they expect all the time. It's like just give the kids a good guidance and give him some stuff to actually work with. Look at the team that Southampton have got. And he's having to work with that team. Now, just imagine, take bleeding one of the Arsenal players out and just stick him in there. And it's like night and day. I'd kill to have a player like this. I would have killed to have a player like this today.
He's a good player. And there's a lot of good... I think he's highly regarded at Southampton. So you might
He's going further than Southampton. There's no way he's staying there.
Yeah, you might get the odd... youngsters to get a bit frustrated with him, but you can see his talent. And Southampton have got a couple of players because they that's what they do. That's the way they run their club. They bring in players that are low value. They see a lot of potential in them, or they bring players through the youth ranks, and then they get them up to what they can, and they sell them on. So.
Well, that's it. They've got Barcelona looking at him. They've got Inter Milan looking at him. AC Milan have looked at him. Juventus have looked at him. Lazio have looked at him. No English clubs though. No English clubs. All just foreign clubs. Borussia Dortmund have looked at him.
Yeah.
Wolfsburg have looked at him. I think there were AS Roma put a bid in for him that was rejected in January.
Yeah, he's a big prospect. And what was your last one?
What was the last one that I picked today?
Oh, yeah, I know you struggled. Karamoko Dembele.
That was the one. This is another one that Steve likes. This one.
I think everyone likes him. Anyone that's seen him. If anyone's seen my video with Stevie Grieve where I spoke a little bit about him, and he waxes lyrical about this kid. He's like a mature adult. He plays like a 30-year-old man. but in a 17-year-old body, it's ridiculous.
It is. It's crazy.
He's about 10 years old, isn't he?
Mate, he's been playing for the Celtic under-19s team since he was 13.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
God.
He's had Henrik Larsson, if anyone can remember him. He's had him watching him as well and taunting him round other clubs that have been looking at him. Bayern Munich have been watching him for the last 4 years.
Yeah,
that's just crazy how Bayern are watching him. But his vision on the pitch as well is what I like. But I also like his brain. He's got a football brain. At the age what he is, it's crazy because you think he just wants to be a young kid, get the ball, take it forward, score a goal, and just celebrate. He's not. He's got a football brain. He knows when to pick a pass. He knows when to come back and defend. He knows when to actually read between the lines. You know, when linesmen flag up for offside, he never gets caught offside.
Yeah.
He always has a little glance at linesmen, and then he knows when to run. He knows when he wants the ball. It's like he's 10 steps in front of everyone on the pitch. And I think he's way bigger than where he is, though.
Yeah,
they'll be lucky where he is. Just basically where he is. Just take lots of photos and just remember him because this kid's going to go somewhere. This kid's going somewhere. Like Teeny. Teeny for us. He's going somewhere.
Half of Scotland and the SPL. But yeah, thank you, boys, for that list. We're going to go on to the eagerly anticipated the transfer roundup. And here we go. Ralf Rangnick agrees to become AC Milan manager. The deal for Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg could be hijacked by Man City or Everton. Are Man City really in for him, Steve? Are Man City really in for him? Are they?
No.
Thank you. So it's not going to get hijacked. When we said that Højbjerg is signing for Tottenham, he is. Because Mourinho's miffed. Mourinho come out in the papers and turn around like, what? Pep wants him? Go away. You get anyone you want. You want this guy.
I asked one of our very good friends who we all know, and he's obviously big at Man City, and he said, in a way, although it was through a text, I felt like I was being attacked. It was like, can you honestly imagine Højbjerg at City? And it was all like I felt like I had to go, whoa, even though it was just a text on the phone. But they're just putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Because of the Pep thing and the Bayern thing. They're putting 2 to 2 together and they're coming out 5. And now I'm scared of him and I'm not interested.
They both be asking that question again. Rodrigo of Barcelona will not be staying at the Catalan club and has been linked with a move to Benfica. Shakhtar wanted him. They're broken-hearted that they can't have him, but he's not going back because Barcelona want more money. We linked the Norwich trio of Max Aarons, Todd Cantwell, and Ben Godfrey last week, and in the papers this week, Cantwell has been linked with a £10 million move away to Sheffield United. So the sources are true. The sources are good. Listen to us at the transfer exchange. Daya Upamecano has made it clear that his plans are not to go to an elite club. And that's why he's speaking to Arsenal. Boo! He said that he doesn't want to join a club that basically wants game time. And you can understand that because it's all about his development at this moment in time. So, yeah. But after today's showing, I'm not sure that Daya Upamecano is still going to be going to Arsenal with the lackage of European football. It's a pipe dream. Chelsea manager Frank Lampard has earmarked West Ham's Declan Rice a potential centre-back for Chelsea. Have they just run out of ideas who they want there? Last week it was Nathan Ake. This week it's Declan Rice. I just don't believe it. I feel like there's other options out there in Europe and the press is just throwing around names because Declan Rice has had a couple of decent games. both Manchester.
It seems to be anybody with an English birth certificate seems to be
linked to Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a stinker, mate. It's just easy. It's easy filler. Chelsea.
Is he on Twitter? Is he on Twitter? I could play centre back.
There we go. Chelsea and Madrid have stepped up their efforts to sign Lazio midfielder Serge Milenkovic-Savic, according to the Express. Top midfielder. I'm surprised that I'm surprised that there's only talk of Kai Havertz. But when you need a central midfielder or attacking midfielder, and you're not talking about this guy who you know that Lazio want to sell, that's kind of a bit crazy for me, because this guy is a player. Liverpool, Alcantara, for me, it's nothing. There's nothing in it. There's nothing around it. Look deeper, people. Stop looking at the headlines. Look.
I've told you week after week, there's nothing in it at all. Nothing
in it. There's nothing in it. Arsenal trying to keep hold of lonely Dani Ceballos. What are we saying on that, boys? Quick one. Jerome, quick one. Dani Ceballos staying at Arsenal.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think, by all accounts, he's not sort of... Zidane isn't a massive fan of his. He's still got quite a long contract left at Madrid, and he's playing well for Arsenal recently. So it could suit all parties involved. Another loan deal for him.
He did say there was links to Real Betis. That could be an easy one because he was there previously. Manuel Pellegrini is the new manager, so whether he wants him there, who knows? But we will see. Simon, Dani Ceballos staying at Arsenal. Would you want that or not?
Might as well.
There we go. Steve, would you want Dani Ceballos staying at Arsenal?
Yeah, I'd quite like. He seems to be working well under Arteta, don't he?
There we go.
They seem to have a good little relationship going, and he has improved quite a lot recently. It's true what Jerome said about Zidane, that they don't like each other. So if he goes back there, he'd only end up playing golf again, wouldn't he? So
it'd be Gareth Bale's caddy.
That's it. Yeah, he can go back. But no, on serious though, I think he's backed up his ideas. I think Arteta's got a good relationships with him, and on the pitch he seems to be performing. So I don't know what the price would be, boys. I don't know what would they.
I think they're talking about 35 to 40 million, aren't they? 35 to 40 million euros. That's the thing.
Yeah. What do you think? 35, 40 million.
I think go for the loan. Go for a loan deal first.
Yeah, go for a loan again.
It depends how much the loan is as well, because some of these people could be cheeky when they know that you need that player on loan. So it remains to be seen, but we're going to keep an eye on it. My thoughts personally is that it'd go back to Spain and have a fun time in Betis. Valencia are trying to get Kepa, Chelsea keeper Kepa, on a season-long loan. Spurs have informed Napoli they are willing to include Lucas Moura in a deal for Milak. Arsenal, Harvey Elliott has just signed his first professional contract at Liverpool. Well done. Jonathan David's move to Lille is apparently completed. Is it near enough done? Is it, Steve?
Oh, God, this one. This one's getting like a Pierre and Aubameyang saga, isn't it?
I think it ties into the Ozan deal. Lille need to sell, but they can't be seen to bring in players when they haven't recouped that 120 million that they need to bring back. So they need to get the players off the book first. So they've got the Jonathan David to Lille is done. It's done. It might not be out yet, but it's done. But
100%.
But they're waiting to do their other dealings, get off the books, so they can actually start spending. Boom. Well done, Steve. Thank you.
A lot of people are thinking it. A lot of people are thinking it was the other way round. They were thinking it was Victor Osimhen who was done, and it was Jonathan David that was messing about. It's not. It's totally the other way round.
And you were saying the other day that you got confirmation that Osimhen is going to be going to Napoli, isn't he?
Yeah, because we were saying he went over there. They had the chat. It was all agreed, and then we said, well, he can't get on the plane, come back, and while he's having his in-flight meal, decide that he wants. That he don't want to go there no more. It was just wasn't making sense.
His in-flight movie was The Great Escape, and he weren't having it. He was like, nah, I need to get out of it. Jack Grealish's agent has confirmed that he has not signed an agreement with Man United. It's all paper talk. So, Tim Sherwood, boy around town, Tim Sherwood, you're lying, mate. It's not done deal.
Where does he go? Where does Grealish go?
Steve, we got a Sancho update. We were speaking the other day that Jadon Sancho, there was Borussia Dortmund. Was it Man United have got the money for Sancho? They're just trying to play games, aren't they? They're just trying to reduce the price.
They're just trying to play games. Dortmund are getting a little bit fed up.
They've got a deadline.
The price now I'm hearing. Yeah, August the 10th.
Yeah.
Dortmund not budging, 116 million, put up, shut up. United, after saying they're not paying more, now they're saying that they have the money, and they was mentioning instalments. That's rubbish. There's no instalments. Dortmund want 3/4 of the payment up front. That's it. If you don't do that, then he stays. But this is where we were saying to Simon earlier, where I said something Man United might have something to play with now. Mason Greenwood is doing the business. You know, have they got a bargaining tool now to maybe bring that price down a little bit? But I'm pretty sure that Jadon Sancho is quite happy to stay at Dortmund anyway. So I can't see any negotiations.
Thank you very much for that update, Steve. Barcelona will have to pay Dortmund 20 million if they sell Ousmane Dembele this summer. Jerome, I think he was looking to that, wasn't you?
Yeah, I had a brief look at that. I mean, the Barca manager's saying that he thinks he can count on him being there next season, and because Barcelona are going to have to pay Dortmund 20 million, someone's going to have to bid big money for Barca to accept. So I think.
If anything, it would be a loan.
Yeah, they've got themselves into a very tricky situation with this. Like they've paid well. I don't know if they've paid well over the. Yeah, they probably have paid well over the odds. They've been very unlucky with the injuries he's picked up, and it just hasn't worked out for the player, for the club. The only people that have done well out of it are Dortmund, by the sounds of things. So yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Jerome. Santi Cazorla is set to join Qatari team Al Said. Simon, I know you told me about what's it called?
Cazorla.
He was offered a contract, but he was offered a coaching contract, and he doesn't want to coach it. He feels like he's got still time in to play.
Yeah, he wanted to come back as a player for 1 year and then go into a coaching role. But Arsenal wanted him to come back in as a contract. Well, as a coaching role, basically, as Arteta's number 2. But Santi Cazorla isn't ready to retire from football yet. He says he's still got a good 2 or 3 years left in him, so he's close to signing for Xavi's team in Miami.
He's close to signing for Xavi's team.
I'm surprised that Villarreal don't want to sign him for another year. I mean, he's on fire there.
Yeah, but I think he might be getting a 2-year at Al Said or whatever it is. And it's Xavi's team. Is it Al Sadd, Qatar? It's money something as well. Like that. Xavi's team. Do you know what I mean? The connection. Xavi's decided to stay on an extra year before because he said that he doesn't want to. It's not the right time for him to go back to Barcelona as manager. Basically, he doesn't want to go there and clean up a shitstorm because it's in a state. It's in a state. Like you can't deny it. You've got players that are. You just sold a 22-year-old and replaced him with a 30-year-old to make 40 million that you can spend in the transfer window. Like, I mean, the sense in that is nonsense. It's crazy. We're going to do a pod solely on Barcelona, and because there's so much to talk about. Leicester are just about to sign, have completed the signing of William Carvalho. Was it? If it's not done, it's near enough done. I thought that potentially before we reported that he had talks with Leicester and signed an agreement, and that he just had to sort out the money for Betis, and I think Leicester and Betis have sorted out that money. So it looks like William Carvalho is off to Leicester. Solskjaer has said that he needs to sign. He wants to sign a right-sided forward, Jadon Sancho, a striker and a centre-back. A striker? Really?
No,
Really?
Surely not.
Really? I don't know where they come up with this. Solomon Kalou has joined Botafogo in Brazil. Pablo Dybala is close to signing a new deal. Manchester United are looking at Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, I don't get that one at
I
all.
don't get that one. But I had a
I'd
Man
rather have
United fan
Lucho.
convinced that it was a great idea after turning around and saying it was rubbish. Absolute rubbish, mate. Absolute rubbish. Oh, actually, I tell you what. Stick Shaw in at centre-back, Chilwell at left-back. Brilliant. I was like, what? Baffled.
Leicester fans will be having a street party.
Man United are going to spend 80 million on Chilwell, and we're not even going to spend 50 million on Sancho.
Sanchez.
What?
Don't work, does it?
Don't work. Chelsea, Inter Milan have opened discussions over Lille for a possible move for forward Jonathan KANE. Jerome, did you have a look at this player?
You know what? I did have a little look at him. He's only recently broken into the French team. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you who he reminds me a little bit of. He reminds me of he's very, very left-footed. Very left-footed. He reminds me a little bit of a smaller version of Pepe. Very, very skillful, tricky, cuts in from the right. But Lille have got previous in terms of getting big transfer fees. So if he does leave, I don't expect this player to be sold for a short amount, a small amount of money. But from what I saw of him, I really like what I'd seen. Scored a lot. He's one of these attackers that can play mainly on the wing, but can play through the middle as well. He scored a lot of goals at youth level for France. The goals have dried up a little bit in terms of for Lille, but looks a really promising player.
All right, and finally, West Ham are not interested in Jesse Lingard and Phil Jones. Contrary to reports, David Moyes is not interested in signing Phil Jones, and he's definitely not interested in signing Jesse Lingard because he says he does not feel he has the desire to resurrect his career again.
There's the Ozan Kabak one. There's a Ozan Kabak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Ozan Kabak for Tottenham. There's a link for Ozan Kabak for Tottenham. Steve, is it strong?
This one's going to break my heart.
What? Yeah. No way. Is this an exclusive?
Well, I don't know. I thought you was going to bring it up.
Well,
so yeah, it may well be.
Go on.
The agent has spoke to Kabak's agent that spoke to him over the telephone. This is from a friend in Germany. This is well on. This is on, and it kills me to say it because I love this player. Mm-hmm. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. He's the replacement for Vertonghen. And he's going to be going for around about 25 million for euro from our German friends.
He can't even say it, Steve. He can't even say it. He can't even say it properly. Ozan Kabak could be joining Tottenham for 25 million, and Steve can't even say the words. It's a strong link, then, yeah.
I mean, from the person that's told me. You have to take it as a strong link.
You do.
And a replacement for Vertonghen. It's just one in, one out.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, if you've not seen Ozan Kabak, go and check out the video on our Twitter page, on Steve's page. I'm sure it'll be there as well. This player has got a bit of everything. He probably needs to hone in is his aggression. Which, I mean, if you're going to hone in anything. You want it to be aggression slightly because I said when I saw him play, you grit your teeth watching him because it's like, every header you puts in, you're like, good son. Every tackle you're sliding around your living room floor. He's a player, and if Tottenham get him, they've got a very good signing for 25 million. Thank you for tonight, boys. It's been good to have you all back. The table is back. It has 4 legs today, not just 3. Because, 3-legged tables are a bit wonky, but it weren't wonky when we had these 2 gems. They held it up strong, solid, like oak. Before we do go, I would like to say a little rest in peace to Jack Charlton, World Cup winner, fellow Irishman, not Irishman. And yeah, he sadly passed away the other day. That's a legend. When you talk about legends, you're talking about English legends. He's done a lot for the game, and rest in peace, Jack Charlton. And on a happier note, not happier note because we're about to say goodbye, but we have gone over the hour that I wanted. It's gone an hour and 40 minutes. I'm going to get a bill for everyone saying overtime, double bubble and all that. Thank you very much, Jerome Marks. It's good to have you back again, Jerome.
Cheers. Thanks, Kieran. Thanks, boys. Cheers.
On the bottom left is our chief scout. It's Steve K coming in with the exclusive. Ozan Kabak to Tottenham. £25 million could be happening.
I'm gonna have nightmares tonight now over that one. I shouldn't have said it. Right. But yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody.
And on the bottom right, it's Simon Sheffield, the chef. He's coming in with the exclusives. He gave you Todd Cantwell. He gave you Max Aarons. He gave you Ben Godfrey. Just watch. It's coming next week. It'll be in the papers next week. Thank you very much, Simon.
Don't forget Harry Kane. I told you that one before.
Harry Kane. How can we forget Harry Kane? But he's not going anyway, so it's going to be no exclusive because no one's going to pay over 60 million for Harry Kane. Lucky you get anything on that. Thank you very much for joining us, people. Yeah, what an episode. Thank you very much. Peace out. Stay safe.